Welcome to CX Wins podcast, a show where customer experience professionals share their biggest achievements, real customer stories, and their vision for the future. Let's meet today's guest, Christina Garnett.
So I'm Christina Garnett. I am a fractional CCO for agencies and brands that want to build lasting relationships with their customers. I have a book called Transforming Customer Brand Relationships from Kogan Page that's going to be released this month, September 2025. So I'm excited to share my thoughts on customer experience and building customer relationships.
It is a pleasure to meet you. So, Christina, what was your biggest CX win?
One of probably my biggest tips for brands, especially if they want to transform their CX, is to start treating their customers like influencers. I think if they start doing that, they start showing up for them, they give them opportunities, they're going to amplify quite significantly what you're doing, and it's going to come from a very genuine and authentic place. And so one of probably the best examples of that, since Inbound was last week, was the Inbound Correspondents program, which is something that I built and launched while I was there, while I was at HubSpot for about 3 years. And what it does is, instead of having a conference and paying influencers to show up and talk about how great it is, you have your customers who are advocates, who are fans, who are passionate about what you do, and you give them a chance to be treated like VIPs. You give them a chance to be the voice. And so what I did was I built a program where we look at about anywhere from like 30 to so customers to figure out who wants to go, who would be a great ambassador for us, who's going to really enjoy the experience, but also want to create content and highlight what their experience is like. So instead of having someone go there and tell you how great it is, you have peers, you have people that you know probably in the ecosystem if you're in the community or you're well established within the SaaS product world. And so what happens is you get boots on the ground creating content about your event, but at the same time, you're making them feel special because you're treating them like the VIPs they really are. And so what it does is it not only gives warm and fuzzies to your audience and to your customers, but it also creates a lot of content, creates a lot of buzz. While I was there, we had tons of pieces of content. And it exploded word of mouth. There was a lot of social mentions. And so what it really does is it just 10x's your word of mouth for the event, what it looks like, all while building those relationships. So for me, that kind of is the perfect example of what it looks like in practice.
That totally makes sense. I know that working so close to customers generates a lot of memorable stories. What is your favorite customer story?
So one of the customers that I worked with when we were building out all these inbound activations was Troy Sandage and Christina K, who were lovely. And I got to see them last week at Inbounds, and they're amazing. But because of our work together, I pitched for the first year that we started working with them for Troy to be like an MC. Like in between sessions, he would kind of hype the crowd and do all these things. And then over the years, him and Christina both took on that role, and they create content, and they really kind of show what it's like on the grounds and what does that look like, and just really kind of high energy opportunities. There's a thing called Maslow's hierarchy of needs that I'm absolutely obsessed with. And for my book, I created my own version where it talks about how we're actually building people up. And at the very top is self-actualization, where you essentially, the easiest way to describe it is because of the work that you're doing, they become their final form. What that does is that opened up more MC opportunities for Troy and Christina. It opened up more event opportunities where they'd be able to show up, be able to do things. And that became a part of their career now. That's some of the things that they do in addition to their regular work. And so when we talk about turning customers into influencers, when you think about the people that you're touching and talking to and working with, how are you setting them up to be their final form? How are you setting them up for self-actualization, where they learn something about themselves, they have opportunities they never would have gotten? That's the perfect example of what it looks like when you take care of people, and then you kind of send them off on their way to be like, now you can do even more. And I'm glad that I got to play a tiny role in that.
And the final question for today, what do you think the future of customer experience looks like?
AI is not going anywhere, for better or for worse. It is going to be further integrated into our lives. I do think that we've been running headfirst into AI, and I think that as we see what it can and can't do, the limitations, but also the drawbacks of the actual human experience, I think over time it's going to be pulled back and hyper focused in certain areas where we're we know it can absolutely nail this, so let it own that. But as AI is becoming more a part of our world, we as humans are going to strategically look for the real. We are going to want to be in a room with the right people, because those aren't bots. I can tell they're not bots because I can like literally see them and touch them and talk to them. And so what you're going to see is this push, even deeper push for community, for connection, for the real, because we are seeing that AI is kind of everywhere. And we're also seeing the proliferation of the idea of the dead internet theory. Like, how many of these people that we're talking with online are real versus bots? And so we're going to see this push for more offline opportunities, for more offline connection. And then in addition to that, what you're going to see is people are going to want the micro. So like conferences are amazing, but what you're going to see is people want to go to like the smaller meetup at the conference, or they want to go to the dinner of like with 20 other people and that's it, at like at somewhere like in that area. And so what you're going to see is this like micro community in real life experience really be over indexed on, because that's what we want. We want connection, we want the real. So focus on that. And then also, if you're talking about your customers and you want to do something like this, I'm a big fan of customer advisory boards or cabs. Do a cab, build a cab, especially if you want to build a community, but you don't know where to get started. Start with a cab first. It's smaller, it's more intimate. You'll learn a lot, but also the people in your cab can have a bigger role. There can be feedback loops. They can talk to executives. They can do all of these things. And then say like, hey, once a year, we're going to like bring the cab all to one place where we can have dinner and drinks, or maybe see a show, or maybe hang out or go to a concert or something, but we're going to do something together. That's just a really beautiful experience to bring people together. And as CX, that's what you should be doing, is you should be connecting with humans on a way that it just feels special, because everyone's using AI, or at least it feels that way. It feels like every brand is using AI. So AI isn't necessarily the differentiator. It's the human component that's added to the AI that's going to be the real moat or the real differentiator for you. So how are you showing up as a human? And then how is the AI incorporated in that so that it's an even more seamless experience?
Christina, thank you so much for the episode, especially for your tips and inspiration. And thank you all for watching and listening. And by the way, if you want to really improve CX in your company, go check out Christina's book.